Nearly 36 people will need to cough up a few $100 each to get their cars out of the impound after 2 nights of cleaning streets and avenues in downtown Fargo. Police and tow truck drivers pulled cars illegally parked overnight out of the way for snowplow drivers. There were a lot of warnings before the cleanup, but 18 people still left their cars in the wrong spots yesterday morning, and tow trucks hooked 16 vehicles the night before.
Hi again and good morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with the Valley today. I'm Lisa Bedeau here with Jordan Schreier. We're just getting started now with our nonstop news and weather to the top of the hour to help you plan your day. There's new information this morning in the search for a missing North Dakota mom from the Standing Rock Reservation. A family spokesperson says they've learned that Kara Maui may be a victim of human trafficking, and she's now listed as an endangered person.
A trail of leads has led investigators to the Dallas, Texas area. Maui has been missing since November 8th. New this morning as well, drivers will be dodging a fresh mess on a road in North Moorhead today. Water is flowing through a gutter in one neighborhood after a water main break overnight.
Firefighters and street crews got the call just after midnight about flooding in the 600 block of 12th Street North. That's the area southeast of the county courthouse and the law enforcement center. Water is contained to the gutter for about 1 block. Roads are passable, but you do need to watch out for a few barriers on the street in that area. A Minot couple is lucky to have survived carbon monoxide poisoning this week, because every year, more than 400 people in the U.S. die from it.
Symptoms include dizziness, chest pains, upset stomach, vomiting, and other flu-like symptoms. The only way to make sure that your house does not contain too much of the poisonous gas is to use a carbon monoxide detector.
9 minutes before 7 o'clock. Let's get a check of our storm team forecast with Lisa Green. And ooh, I can feel the difference already. It's better out there.
It is a lot better. The temperatures are mild and the wind has finally eased up for us in the valley. So as we're looking out on our Storm Team Skycam network here in Fargo, we've got some pretty good conditions. We're not seeing the cameras shaking at all like it was yesterday, though roads are still slick. We've got some frost reported on the roads today and still some icy areas. So as we look at our travel for today, we're going to be keeping that yellow light here for that because we're still going to be dealing with those slick spots. It's not going to be perfect out there for anybody hitting the roads, especially this morning. Hopefully things improve as we go through the day. You'll want to watch out for that road spray too that Devin's been talking about this morning, and we'll check in with him in just a moment. I mentioned those winds that have been pretty light. We're looking at conditions that are really looking good. We have wind speeds less than 15 miles per hour, wind out of the south or turning westerly as we look out to the west, and overall keeping that kind of wind speed around through the day today. Temperatures mainly in the teens, above zero. It's 17 degrees in Fargo, 11 in Grand Forks. A couple of us in the 20s. One of those spots, Jamestown, at 22 degrees. And wind chills, yes, it is a factor, but we're not seeing these numbers with a bunch of negative signs in front of them. Most of us feeling like when we step out the door, we're above zero. Still need that winter coat and gear. It just won't be as miserable or as hazardous for you as you're heading out the door and sending the kids out to the bus stop this morning. So conditions are looking pretty good. We've got some quiet weather, clear skies for most of us in the valley, seeing some clouds over by Ellendale. And as these move in for later today, can't rule out the potential for a little bit of drizzle, some potential freezing drizzle with that. In fact, I'm seeing some pink down in that southwestern corner of Dickey County there right now. Most of it staying to our south, but I just want to mention that it is a possibility, especially for our viewers right along the state line. So here's a look at that hour-by-hour planner. Generally speaking, a mostly sunny day, a mild, quiet day today. As we head into the afternoon, we'll see those temperatures into the 20s to about 30 degrees for your high. And then heading into tonight and tomorrow, you can see that moisture out to the west and to the south and west of us that could have some impacts on us. Minor impacts, but still something to watch out for. And that's really it for the rest of this weekend into this weekend. We're quiet, we're mild. We're looking at temperatures in the 20s to about 30 degrees and a quiet weekend ahead, finally. And now for a look at traffic, here's Devin Fry with the Valley Today's Traffic on the Move.
Thank you, Lisa. We are finishing up this hour on I-94. More specifically, we are heading eastbound toward toward Minnesota. My fault. Bismarck's the other way. But no, the road conditions, they are not quite better than they were yesterday. You can see the glare coming off the roadways here. Overall just still slick conditions. You're definitely going to want to give yourself some extra time. They're really very similar to what we were experiencing yesterday. The only real difference is that we aren't experiencing that blowing snow across the roadways today, which is good news. So everything is moving fairly smoothly here on the interstate. So you can see the westbound lanes of I-94. They're looking a little bit more loaded up than we are here on the east. However, there is plenty of traffic flow coming in from I-29 here up ahead around the 25th Street area, and that area is getting a little bit busier here in the eastbound lanes. But overall, things are moving fairly smoothly. We're all going about the speed limit here, and it seems to be moving fairly fine on the interstate. So you're just going to want to make sure to give yourself plenty of extra time and approach these roadways very cautiously, because odds are they're not going to be getting any better as our morning goes on. We're going to keep checking out the roadways in the next hour on the Fargo CW, but for right now, for your traffic on the move, I'm Devin Fry.
Weather conditions have been constantly changing after our latest blizzard blast, and that's creating a whole mess of problems for cleanup teams. Police say the worst places to drive are on highway ramps. The North Dakota Highway Patrol also says conditions are bad on I-94 in the Fargo area between Veterans Boulevard and I-29, and along 29 between 19th and 19th Avenue North and I-94. Main, 13th, and 32nd Avenues are also in much less than perfect shape. The DOT has full crews out all night, but they just can't get to everything fast enough. As soon as they treat one spot, snow blows across the road, refreezes, and in a way polishes it, so it's even more slippery.
As snow piles up around the FM Metro, so do the complaints. Fargo Public Works has fielded more than 800 complaints since the beginning of the season. All of them were about sidewalks that have not been cleared. And while snowpacked paths are difficult to walk on, they're even harder to navigate for people in wheelchairs. One man who uses a chair asks that the next time you're out shoveling, to not only think about your family or customers, but also people like him. President Donald Trump has approved a disaster declaration for North Dakota after that October storm that dumped heavy rain and snow on a large part of our state.
Governor Doug Burgum says the rainfall and blizzard depleted local road and emergency fund budgets. The presidential disaster declaration unlocks federal funds to help cities, counties, and townships. Minnesota is awarding more than $23 million in grants to projects throughout the state to help bring high-quality broadband access to underserved and unserved areas.
They range from projects to serve farms to those that bring gigabyte speeds to underserved areas. An internal audit has found several violations of laws to prevent fraud, waste, and abuse in a Department of Human Services division responsible for a string of improper payments.
The department's Behavioral Health Division was responsible for $29 million in overpayments to 2 American Indian bands and $70 million in improper payments to chemical dependency providers. The Minnesota audit released yesterday says the division skirted state laws on contracting and conflict of interest. Your North Dakota voting experience might be a little faster the next time around. Hundreds of electronic devices aimed at adding speed and security at the polls are being distributed to the state's 53 counties.
Poll books will replace the paper process of checking in voters that are used in most counties. North Dakota has no voter registration, but maintains a central voter file, which is a database of who has voted. Every year, we see the flu strike. This year, the Center for Disease Control is seeing children as the main target.
And the Valley Today's Abby Furchner is live in studio this morning, giving us more information on what exactly we need to watch out for. Good morning, Abby.
Yeah, good morning, Jordan and Lisa. This season's flu has 2 prominent strains, influenza A and influenza B. Nurse practitioner Adam Nelson says every year the flu tends to hit a certain age group the hardest, with this year being young children. Nelson says that's because there is more than one flu strain targeting our systems this year. When we take a look at this map at North Dakota's numbers, you can see we are in high risk for the flu. The state's Department of Health is reporting that roughly 3,200 people have been hit with the flu, but only 26 were hospitalized. Of those, no deaths have been reported. The virus RSV is also circulating, causing even more children to be sick. RSV is a respiratory virus that causes wheezing, coughing, and in severe cases leads to respiratory failure. To help stop the spread of germs, make sure you're teaching them how to wash their hands properly and wipe down toys, bathrooms, and other rooms of the homes to stop the spread. Nelson also recommends washing both yours and your children's winter gear at least once a week.
Great advice. I know so many of us, the whole winter season goes and then, oh, I don't know if I washed those hats and gloves.
Yep, I just washed my coat the other day because I was like, oh yeah, she's getting pretty dingy. So good advice. Abby Furchner reporting live. Thank you very much this morning. Let's get the answer now to our question of the morning on Facebook. That question, around 60% of vehicles have this.
The answer? A bumper sticker. I did not guess that correctly
I
this
did
morning.
not either. And I do want to mention something. We've been talking about those slick roads all morning long, and Lisa, you have too. Minnesota State Patrol just tweeted that there is a jackknifed cattle trailer and a pickup on I-94 just east of Moorhead this morning that they responded to just a minute ago. So be careful out there.
Yeah, you know, we've got frost reported on the roads, leftover ice from yesterday's wind event. So it's still not clear, but the good news is we're not necessarily adding to it with that wind on the lighter side. You can see our wind speeds are less than 15 miles per hour. We've got some mild temperatures out there too, in the teens right now this morning. So kind of quieting things down, but don't let that fool you into thinking those roads are clear.
Okay, good point. The Today Show and CBS This Morning are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on. You can join us right now on the Fargo CW.